Hi guys, welcome back, it's Mr. Vince, and I am deeply sorry for not making a video over the past few weeks. I just felt less interested in making some Roblox content on the channel, you know? But with that being said, I will go ahead and show you guys the Wedge. It has been a while since I actually made a video on a season vehicle, but I decided to do one for you guys because y'all deserve it. So this is the Wedge. As you can see, it is the Season 23 Grand Prize, and to get it, you have to reach level 10 within Season 23. And this vehicle was created by Dreamer, so that's actually really sick. Dreamer has also made a few other items that are part of the garage and can be purchased, so please feel free to give those a try. With that being said though, the Wedge is a recent supercar that was added this update. And, well, I'm going to be testing it out for this video. I have been trying out this vehicle quite often over the past week. So you can see I got about 80 miles. I would have had more. So, with that said, I'll go ahead and go through some different aspects of the Wedge, like other YouTubers would do. So, firstly, let's talk about the design, because I know some of you might be interested in the Wedge's design. So this vehicle is kind of a hybrid between various different vehicles, but it closely represents the Torero, which was a vehicle from the 5 Days Vehicles of 2021. So if you guys don't know what the Torero was, this was the Torero, and it actually kind of looks identical to the Wedge if you look at the front portion of both vehicles. Yeah, you can kind of see they're both a little bit identical. One difference, however, is that the Torero does not have actual functioning headlights, while this vehicle does. Speaking of functional headlights, the Wedge is the first vehicle to have actual functioning headlights. As you can see, the headlights pop out when you activate them, and I think that is a really cool feature within this vehicle. We had the Longhorn, which had an actual animated converted roof when it was added in Season 18, and now we have this vehicle. How time flies. Alright, with that said, the Wedge also has butterfly door support, which means the butterfly doors are part of the Wedge, and they will open and close a little bit differently compared to a lot of the other vehicles, like the Agent. So you can see that the doors close like that. So this vehicle is a little bit identical to both the DeLorean and the Beam Hybrid when it comes to the butterfly doors. And we also got ourselves a few other details. So over here we got ourselves the license plate. The license plate apparently is actually on the left side of the vehicle instead of the back. So if you guys have no idea what Turbo 7 is, it's actually the license plate of the vehicle. Now unfortunately, since I am playing on the console, the license plate will be invisible when I customize it. So you can see that the license plate is not there. And so yeah, it's not there. With that said though, the interior actually looks really cool. So if I go ahead and go back and use cinematic on the Wedge's interior, you can see that we do have some pretty cool details. Dreamer did actually make the SRK, which is another vehicle that has a really nice interior. So big props to Dreamer for the interior of the Wedge. It actually looks pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. And one other detail I do want to make is that the speedometers do actually glow when you turn on the headlights, which I think is a really nice detail. Very nice interior. We also got the back, which includes the engine. And unfortunately, unlike the JB8, which is another vehicle that has an engine on the back of the vehicle, you can't actually sit in the back of the Wedge, as the Wedge only seats up to 2 people. So if I go ahead and spawn in the Audi, you can see that I can sit in the back of the Audi. I can't actually use items in the back, however, but that's where the engine is located at. If the JB8 had an interior, the engine would actually be here. So that's kind of interesting. Taken from the Jailbreak wiki, by the way. I've remembered that for a while. Anyways, we also got the spoiler. The spoiler cannot actually be changed to a different spoiler, but it does support textures. As you saw earlier, there was a texture on the spoiler when I equipped Flaming, and yeah, it is not animated, however, so it doesn't actually pop out or in when you drive, so please keep that in mind. With that being said though, alongside the Manta, the Wedge does have actual turbo sounds when driven, so I'll let you guys listen to that real quick. Yeah, I must say the Wedge is just epic. Alongside, you can also see that the back of the vehicle can actually be customized using second body color. So second body color actually covers some of the engine. So if I go ahead and change the color of the engine from radiant orange to radiant red, you can see that, yeah, the engine does change. So it works with pretty much any color. You can't apply a texture on the engine, which makes sense, obviously. But for this video, I am going to use radiant orange because of the customization I'm using. But over here, we also got various other options. So we got ourselves the generic stuff, texture, body color, rim. You probably get the point. But sadly, we can't change the spoiler. And this vehicle does support windows, but the windows are really hard to see without a low window temp. So if I use 20%, it is a little bit easier to see the windows. And the window on the back also works with window tint, which is kind of sick. But again, I'm going to use 80% because of the customization I'm using. And we only have two interior options, so you can't actually change the seats with seat color. So in order to change the seat color, you have to use interior detail. And you can see that the seats do get updated. And I like the fact that some part of the steering wheel also gets updated when you change the interior detail. And then we also got the headlights. As you can see, the headlights can change with headlights color. But like I said earlier in the video, the speedometers are also affected by the headlights color, and they will glow when you turn on the headlights, which is a really, really cool detail. I'm not going to lie there. With that being said though, that is pretty much it for the customization. You're free to customize the Wedge in any way you like. And now let's go ahead and test out the stats. So firstly, we got ourselves the braking. So the braking is not that good. It's actually kind of comparable to some vehicles like the Torpedo and the Bugatti Veyron. So the braking is not that great, especially if you're driving really fast. It takes a little bit of time to stop. Now, as in for reverse speed, well, you might not be happy with the reverse speed, but it's not terrible. As you can see, it's going up to about 72 miles per hour in reverse with low 5 engine, which actually isn't too bad for a seasoned vehicle, but it could be better, obviously. I mean, we got the Bruley and the Javelin going insane in reverse, so I wouldn't be surprised there. Now, as in for the other statistics, including acceleration and launch, the launch is actually pretty good, but the acceleration is a little bit interesting. So for the first few seconds, the acceleration is pretty good. You can see that I already reached up to close to 200 miles per hour within a few seconds after driving, and that's actually really good. So if I go ahead and do it again, you can see that I'm already going quite fast within the first few seconds, but eventually it's going to hit a breaking point, and it's going to take a little bit longer to hit true top speed. So you can see it's now kind of gradually adding in miles per hour to the actual miles per hour we got here. But the true top speed of the Wedge is 300. So this is the third fastest seasoned vehicle in the game. So it's only been by the Torpedo and the Beignet. With that being said though, the Wedge is still a fantastic getaway vehicle, and it can definitely beat other vehicles like the Proto 08, the Roadster, Volt Bike, Poseidon, etc. It's just that good. But for its limitations, yeah, I mean, most people wouldn't really mind the limitations, especially if you're playing alone or with a friend, since you can only seat up to 2 people in the vehicle. So, honestly, I would say the Wedge is actually really good. It's among my favorite looking season vehicles in the game, alongside other vehicles like the Volt 4x4, Beam Hybrid, Arachnid, etc. The Wedge is definitely a handy vehicle, and I would recommend grinding for the vehicle because by the time I'm making this video, you only have about 56 days to get the Wedge. So please try your best to grind for the bad boy because after Season 23 ends, you can no longer get the Wedge without having to trade for it. So please keep that in mind. But now, let me go ahead and talk about the other 2 that I want to cover in this video as special bonuses for those who have made it this far. So, fairly recently, I was able to get my hands on 2 Hyperchromes. The first of which is Hyper Yell Level 5. And the second is Hyper Pink Level 4. I seriously think if people are seriously mad, I just hope they feel better about themselves, you know? So I'll start with Hyper Yell Level 5 because I know a lot of you want to see a Level 5 over a Level 4. So don't worry, I'll be covering that. And yeah, I'm just dabbing right there, you know? Casual and dabbing. Anyways, so getting Hyper Yell Level 5 was definitely such a pain. It took me almost 3 months to get Hyper Yell Level 5 from a Hyper Yell Level 4, which I got from luck with about 80% pity, so that was pretty good. Hyper Yell Level 5 is actually not the best Hyperchrome color, but I like yellow, so it definitely looks pretty good. So here's what Hyper Yell 5 looks like on the Wedge. And I'll go ahead and put on Classic Variant 2 because I know a lot of you would probably love to see yellow be used with a yellow texture. And unfortunately it's nighttime, so it's kind of hard to see the actual shine on the yellow 5, but it will finally turn daytime in less than a minute, so that's good. With that said, I think this is actually pretty good. It's not the best, but like I said, I like yellow, so this does look pretty decent. And for some reason, the shine inside of the vehicle looks like the Hyper Orange shine. And I think that's just brilliant orange colliding with the shine, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's finally turning daytime, which means the shine is going to be much more noticeable, and there it is. That is very, very shiny compared to Hyper Yell Level 4. You can't really see the green on this thing either, unlike the previous levels. So that's actually really good. But now let me go ahead and talk about Hyper Pink Level 4. It's not Level 5 yet, but I might get Hyper Pink Level 5 from luck. Who knows? Now, fortunately, we did get a slight pink texture this update, so I'm able to use Retrowave with Hyper Pink Level 4, but some of you might be surprised at how I got this thing. So back in August, I got a Hyper Pink Level 2 from luck with about a 70% pity. In September, I got a Hyper Pink Level 3 in my private server from luck, which was insane. And then as of October 13th, I actually got a Hyper Pink Level 4 from luck while I was live streaming. I think that is insane, to be fairly honest with you guys. Yeah, getting a Hyper Pink Level 4 this quickly was unexpected. But considering I had Hyper Pink Level 1 for about 7 months, hasn't really surprised me. But for pity, that is crazy. I literally saved over 1,000 robberies just trying to get a Hyper Pink Level 4. And that was actually one of the few Hyperchromes that I wasn't trying to grind for. I was actually trying to grind for the Hyper Diamond Level 4 instead, since most of you probably know that I am trying to get another Hyper Diamond Level 5. But if I haven't covered that up, I am actually trying to get another Hyper Diamond Level 5, so yeah. Oh my goodness, another 1mm moment. Oh no. Alright, anyways. So yeah, this is Hyper Pink level 4, and I gotta say, it looks very cool. I am not a big pink guy though. Like, I'm not a big pink person, so I don't think I'm going to be using this color very often, but it's so awesome that I got something pretty good out of the look I had. So for the other textures that you can use on the Wedge, this is what the textures look like on the Wedge. I do have every texture except for Crater, which is only given to the submission winners. But for those wondering, this is what Crater looks like on the Wedge. Actually looks pretty good. Definitely a lot better than Wireframe. So overview, we got various textures. We also got none if you don't want to use a texture within this vehicle. I actually decided to sort by newest because I wanted to spawn in the Wedge through newest. It's just quicker that way. So, yeah. But with that being said, I'll give the Wedge a 9 out of 10. It is an absolutely amazing vehicle. It looks phenomenal, and it definitely is among my favorite looking vehicles in the game. It kind of got me some 2021 vibes, especially with it looking a little bit similar to the Torero. But alongside, the Wedge has some amazing stats, but there are some drawbacks like the less seat capacity, as well as its pretty mediocre acceleration. But overall, the Wedge is definitely worth grinding for, and it's just that good. And also, for those wondering, there is a brand new Roblox animation pack that just released recently. It's called the NFL animation pack, so for those who want to buy it, the link is in the description below. I think the animation pack is actually really cool, but also goofy at the same time. It costs 250 Robux, and I finally changed my avatar to something even more goofy. And so my name is Patrick Astley. That's actually going to be my Halloween avatar. I know, that sounds very weird. But, you know, Halloween is coming up within like a week from now, so it's kind of expected, you know? But with that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to leave a like. My name is Mr. Vince, like usual. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.